right, so in this one, we're going to dive into a very strange world of Hollywood streaming wars, or a different point in the streaming wars where major streaming services are engaging in an advertising battle that forbids promoting rival platforms and shows. And of course, we're going to focus here on the big ones: Netflix, Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery, maybe Paramount, but all the big brands and their rivals advertising. We're going to figure out what's motivating these strict guidelines and what's the potential impact on viewer behavior, because obviously this will have some. And as media companies continue to scramble for subscriber growth, could these types of promotions of rival services, or the lack thereof, actually be counterproductive? Those answers and more in an ever-evolving landscape of streaming and advertising by industry players in this peculiar, well, all the more modern battle. Here we go. All right, everybody, brace yourselves as we enter the fray. One of the strangest battles in all of Hollywood's scorched earth streaming wars is about to take place, or is taking place if you are paying attention. This is a clash of the titans, so to speak, and many are even refusing to acknowledge their rivals when it comes to, well, all of the different streaming services out there. And I'm very serious here when I say that major streaming services have adopted a policy of rejecting advertisements that promote rival platforms, or even the shows that might be available on the rival platforms. And it's a peculiar stance, in my opinion, that sets the stage for an advertising showdown among industry giants, as I mentioned in the intro: Netflix, Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery, Paramount, and all of the other ones that are out there on the planet, including, well, to a limited extent, Peacock, but they are a little different, and we'll get to that in a second. What's worse here is that it comes at a time when the financial thumbscrews are really twisting down on all of these streaming services and their media parent companies. Streaming companies themselves have entered a new phase beyond the streaming war. We have seen the reinforcement and cleanup stage, so to speak. In fact, we're probably beyond what we would call a war, and now it's more like the establishment of borders around some small nations that were formed out of desperation, but not because of any financially sound decision making, which is the biggest problem here, and, well, can't go back and fix that. But truly, in what I would call a misguided effort, streamers are becoming even more fiercely competitive, with companies vying for their subscribers and obviously viewers' attention, while just softly trying to ignore each other. Well, you can't do that. And every time that you've tried, in every other venture that you've entered into, whether it be radio, television, film, whatever, you've had to actually, work with your competitors. And that's the only way in entertainment and forward. So when it comes to advertising, these streaming services have drawn a very hard line. They're refusing to accept commercials that would highlight their rival platforms. So Netflix and Disney, Hulu, Warner Brothers Max, and all of these other things are among the services that are adhering to this new policy. And that's according to industry experts, not just me saying. What's really strange here is there are some companies out there that are embracing the idea of accepting ads from their rivals, such as NBC Universal's Peacock, as I mentioned before, and Amazon's Freevee. Others, it seems, are just wary of promoting their competitors in their quest for subscriber growth. And this approach mirrors traditional television, or at least the playbook that they used to follow, where networks actually hesitated to air commercials promoting their rivals' offerings. This could be flawed logic, and we'll get to that shortly, I promise. Now, the media company's reasoning behind all of this is advertising exclusivity, and that lies in their pursuit of increasing the hours spent on their respective services. Running ads for rival platforms could potentially divert viewers' attention and provide them with a reason to explore other streaming options, which they don't want you to do. They're absolutely terrified about that. They don't want you making that kind of a decision. However, maintaining this strict policy may prove to be very challenging in the evolution of what's happening with TV and streaming. You see, as media companies seek to promote their individual streaming platforms, and of course the content that's on them, the lines between traditional TV and streaming are going to be blurred. They already have been. An industry professional, Tim Hanlon, the CEO at Veteri Group, I hope I'm saying that right, has been suggesting that Sticking to these walled garden policies could become increasingly complicated. I would suggest it's as foolhardy as walling off all of your content from everybody else and forsaking all that extra revenue stream opportunity. But hey, it's not like a lot of us were pointing that out many, many years ago. Right, Grant?
Nah, it's not going on like that, mate.
In recent years, the TV networks have capitalized on the advertising revenue from the streaming services, encouraging viewers to switch from traditional TV to streaming platforms. And to many, that may have seemed like cutting off your nose to spite your face. Further, those particular ads have actually been featured during major events like the Super Bowl and promoting shows like Amazon's Jack Ryan, HBO's Game of Thrones, and all of the Disney Plus original content that, well, now is being written down for, well, tax reasons and because they're out of money. That's a whole other video. Moving on. And of course, the allure of advertising dollars remains strong for everybody. Streaming services are becoming more selective about the ads that they accept now that they're actually accepting ads in the first place, which many of them suggested they were never going to do. For example, Netflix's recent foray into ad-supported tiers has a lot of limitations due to its smaller subscriber base in that category. There just aren't that many people that have signed up for the ad tier. So as a result, the company is very cautious about commercials that might direct subscribers to rival platforms. Of course, there's other factors such as political ads and specific categories like sports betting, probably firearms as well, that will also influence all of these policies going forward. I actually shudder to think about the upcoming political season when I'm going to be bombarded by a wall of like my least favorite political candidate. And that's going to happen in nearly every ad. Hey, Grant, remind me to unplug the TV when we head into November, okay?
Unplug everything, unplug it, pull it offline.
And here we are at a time where the entire media landscape is continuing to change, to shift, to move about. And the conflict between ad exclusivity and potential business opportunities becomes rather apparent. For instance, Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery struck a deal to feature many HBO series on their platform, which, well, brings up a question. Would it benefit Warner Brothers Discovery's Max to advertise these shows that are going to be over on Netflix, or vice versa? The clash promoting rival services and business partnerships complicates the decision-making process. It clouds it up as you want the service to re-up the contract with you to show your shows at your premium fee, like we'd always done before with premium cable channels. It just seems like that would be the ideal business. So while media and tech conglomerates may perceive threats to their business, viewers may not share those same concerns. In fact, consumers rarely share the concerns or sensibilities of any of these so-called providers, and they never have. They just want the best selection for the best price, whether it's for, I don't know, tennis rackets or TV subscriptions. Just give me the best thing for the best price. Thank you very much. Ultimately, the decision to prioritize advertising revenue or adhere to strict advertising policies will likely depend on the financial aspect here. So, as is always the case, the market will ultimately decide. In that regard, one thing is very certain. As the battle for viewers intensifies, the checkbook may need to prevail over any or all other considerations. And with all of the media companies that much in need of money right now, well, I think they're going to compromise on this one, but I could be wrong. The streaming wars have indeed taken a very curious turn, and the dynamics between advertising, rival platforms, and consumer engagement continues to shape the future of entertainment consumption, just like it always has. And now they are also starting to shape the maturity of a market where everybody is going to have to learn how to share, just like they've always had to do eventually in every other evolution in media since the business began. I will say I'm curious if you would be surprised or bothered seeing a commercial on, let's say, Netflix for Warner's Max service or vice versa. I'm fairly certain I would pay that very little mind, nor would I care. And I'm not sure it would ever influence me to switch one for the other or take one on and have them both. I don't really know that it would influence me at all. And if you have any thoughts on the future of these streaming services, please use the section down below for any comments that you may have, because I am genuinely curious. And of course, I'll say what I always say, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.